The second part of our week 1 notes will be relatively short. We just have a few more slides with some specific calculations and questions. So one thing that you need to know how to do for the personal finance tests, and I assume for the case studies, is some basic budget calculations. And these shouldn't be very difficult. It just requires understanding what goes into a budget. So if Anne's monthly net pay is $2,000 and she saves 15% each month, and then we have the monthly expenses of $1,000 rent, $400 for transportation, and $300 for food, the question is, can she afford a $100 night out with her friends? So these are, again, not very difficult calculations, but they'll have a little mix of dollar figures and percentage figures. And so you just need to be able to move fluidly between the two. So if she saves 15% each month, how much is she saving? She's saving $300. So she's saving $300. Rent is $1,000, so that's $1,300, $1,700, $2,000. Oh, she has a balanced budget right now, right? Her spending plus saving equals $2,000. Her monthly net pay is $2,000. Can she afford the night out? The answer is no. So the questions that I've seen don't get much more difficult than that when it comes to budget calculations. Also, occasionally there are sale calculations. I just want you to understand how basically markdowns work. So Nathan wants a coat that costs $200. In March, it's marked 50% off. And then during a blowout sale, it's marked down another 20%. How much does the coat cost? And some people will make a mistake when they do this calculation, right? Because they want to add together 50 plus 20 and say, oh, it's 70% off, the coat's $60. But that's not the way sale pricing works. So what actually happens is the coat was $200. It's marked 50% off, so now it's $100. And now it's another 20% off, so it's $80. Right? So you have to apply the different discounts in a sequence. You can't just add together the two percentages and count that off. So again, not a very difficult calculation, but something that you need to know how to do. There are sometimes questions about how Americans actually spend their money, like what are the top categories of spending. So this graphic will help you with that. You can see pretty clearly that the top place that we spend our money is on housing, right? Number one, it's about 1/3 of our income goes to housing. Number 2 category is transportation, and transportation includes car payments, gas, car rentals, anything that you use for transportation, bus passes. And then our 3rd category is food. And of course, if you look at poorer countries, or if you look at us in the past, food used to be a much, much higher percentage. So as our expenditures on food have gone down, that's allowed us to spend more on both housing and transportation. 4th would be insurance. 5th, as a single category, would be healthcare. Okay, and then you can look at the others there. All other expenditures, right? That's a whole bunch of little categories added together. So healthcare is actually number 5. All right, a few more things. They often like to ask these questions, sort of the fact or fiction about millionaires. Which of the following is true about most millionaires? They inherited most of their wealth. They work more than 40 hours per week. They work in glamorous jobs. They do not invest in the stock market. So think about your answer for a second. The answer is most millionaires work more than 40 hours a week. Okay, most millionaires did not inherit their wealth. Most don't have glamorous jobs. There's a whole book called The Millionaire Next Door that talks about how most millionaires, you wouldn't actually even know that they're millionaires. They don't necessarily live excessive lifestyles. Maybe they travel a little bit more, or maybe they're able to pay cash for things that other people have to save up for. But most millionaires, it just means they have $1 million in assets, right? So it could be they have $600,000 in their retirement account and $400,000 house, and you wouldn't necessarily know that that person is wealthy. And one more review question, and this is one that I told you, so I'm just going to tell you to pause for a second and read this question. Which of the following are the fundamental choice elements of a complete budget? And hopefully you realize that the correct answer here is A. So that brings us to the end of our first week notes. We will have, at our session, we will have 20 practice questions to apply all of these. You are not, I believe, able to use a calculator in Personal Finance Decathlon, so do please keep that in mind.